Alright guys, I hope most of you were able to solve the challenge, and if you got stuck somewhere, then you can take some hint from this video and give it another try. So here I have my base code ready for this challenge. So I have a class named fitness, which the challenge says, and I have a method calculate BMI and another method calculate pace. Now few things before I start writing the solution for the challenge. I have made both my methods static so that I can directly call it with the class name itself, and I don't have to create the class instance or the class object. But you can totally avoid it if you want to call these methods with the class instance. It's not mandatory to make these methods static. Now let's talk about the solution. The first method that we have is calculate BMI, and the purpose of this method is to calculate the BMI of a particular person. And the formula that we have to calculate the BMI is body weight in kilogram divided by the square of body height in meter. So that's why we have two parameters here which we'll accept from the caller. The first one is weight and the second one is height. And this weight should be in kilogram and this height should be in meter. And since this weight and height can have decimals, we are using decimal as our data type here instead of integer. And the calculation of the two decimal types will return a decimal value itself. So that's why I am returning a decimal value. For now, I am returning null because I haven't written my logic here, but we will write our logic and change this statement. The second method that we have is calculate pace, and the purpose of this method is to take some input from the user like the distance in kilometer and the minutes, and it should return the kilometer per hour pace back to the caller. So we are having two parameters here. The first one is distance, which should be in kilometer. The second one is minutes. And the formula that we are going to use to calculate the pace is distance divided by time, and here time will be in minutes. But remember, we need to return the pace in kilometer per hour. So we'll write our logic to convert this kilometer per minute to kilometer per hour. So let's start with our first method. And here we already know the formula to calculate the BMI. So I'm going to declare a new variable here and I'm going to call it result. You can also call it BMI as well. And I'm going to initialize this variable with a formula. And my formula is the weight divided by the height square. And to achieve the height square, what you can do is height multiplied by height itself. So that's how you'll do height square. And then we can return this result back to the caller. So we can change this return null statement to return result. So pretty simple formula to calculate your BMI. Now let's move to the second method. And here the challenge for us is we are accepting our data in minutes, but we need to return the pace in kilometer per hour. So the first thing that we should do is to convert this minutes to the hour. So let's declare a new variable and I'm going to call it HR or R, and I'm going to initialize it with a formula, and my formula would be minutes divided by 60. So that's how I'll get my hours, or I'll convert my minutes to hours. Then I'll declare a new variable to calculate my pace, and I'm going to initialize the value of this variable with another formula or another expression, which is distance divided by hour, and this way we will get our pace in kilometer per hour, and then we can simply return this pace back to our caller instead of returning null. So very simple, and let's save our code. Now we can call these methods from our anonymous window, and we can check the BMI and the pace based on the different values a user will provide. So let's go to our anonymous window, and here we can use our debug statement to print the value of BMI and the pace, and we'll supply different values to these methods. So let's use our debug statement, and since both of these methods are static, we can directly call these with the class name. The first method is calculate BMI, and this method accepts a weight, which is the first parameter, and then the height, which is the second parameter. So let's give the weight as maybe 65 kg, and then height is like maybe 1.2 meter. And this statement right here is going to give us the BMI in return. So we can directly print this within the debug statement. Let's also write some informative message here, like BMI for height and weight is, and here we can also supply the values of height and weight. So the height is 1.2 and the weight is 65. Awesome. We can copy the same statement maybe like 2-3 more times, and we'll calculate the BMI for different values. Let me just try to get some more space. Looks better. Now let's give some random values like maybe 75, same here as well. So this should give us our BMI in return. Now let's call our second method inside a debug statement. Let's use our class name and then the method name, which is calculate pace. So this accepts the distance in kilometers, so we can give it any values like maybe 12.5 kilometer, and then the minutes maybe like 80 minutes. And very similar to our message here, we are going to type some message here as well. Let's provide our values here. .5 kilometer in 80 minutes. So we can copy this statement 3-4 more times, and again we can use some random values. Awesome. So we have called our calculate BMI method 4 times and calculate pace method 4 times. Let's execute this code and see if we get the correct result or not. I think we are getting some pretty solid results for BMI and pace both, and I believe both of these are accurate. If you don't think so, please try it out from your side and let me know if my logic is not giving the correct results. So this is how you can use your Apex methods and classes and solve these problems. I hope you liked this challenge. From the next video, we'll keep on moving forward in this course.